And welcome to Seeing the Need, Finding Solutions, Stories of Healing and Hope. Got a story coming up from you and a very special gentleman that's joined us today. Laura, Impact Suicide Prevention, you got some things coming up. What's going on here in the Valley?
We do. We are an official charity of the P.F. Chang's Marathon on January 15th. So we are running to save a life. That's our team, Run to Save a Life. And we're hoping that people will either join us and run the marathon or half marathon or donate to those of us that are running. And then on February 12th, we have our annual Jeremiah Walk for Survivors of Suicide. And it's for people who have lost loved ones to suicide. And it's at Kiwanis Park. It's a 5K.
Awesome. We'll be having more information on those two events coming up on Seeing the Need show. You can go to localaztv.com, go to local shows, and hit the funny guy that's going like that. And we'll get a couple links up there where they can help out and support not only just suicide prevention impact, but I'm sure there'll be a lot of other aspects that are tied into that to support numerous charities that are here in the Valley. With that, I would like to introduce a special guest, Mr. Elijah Lucas-Muhammed. Welcome, Elijah.
Thank you.
Elijah was part of our program, Seeing the Need, put on, in combination with People of Color Network, put on a summer school for kids to tutor with math and English and all the basic subjects, but partnered with the New Tech Technologies and DeVry Institute for class space and put on a graphics design and production type of school for the summer. And I remember Elijah showed up this Sunday at our Toys for Tots distribution for New Exodus. He was there, I don't know, 5:30 in the morning. And when Elijah showed up, his countenance, his whole countenance changed. And I remember looking at him, and it took a second to kind of tie one end to the other, because he was clowning around a lot and having fun in class. And he came up with a real serious look. And, hey, how you doing? I'm here to volunteer. And when I realized who it was, and part of our staff is Sergeant Fuentes on our staff as well, he had mentioned that he was enlisting into the Marine Corps and wanted to change his life. And I'm going to let Elijah talk a little bit about this, and I'll lead you in a little bit. Elijah, I'm going to take the kind of stance of what it was like before, what happened, and what it's like now. So let's talk about before you, how long have you been at you're in a youth group home, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you know about how many children are with you?
There's about around nine children.
In your house, and they have 4 houses, I think, correct?
Yes.
3 or 4. So 9 times about 36 kids in those 4 houses.
Over that, yes.
Take us back a little bit, as comfortable as you are. How did you get there?
Well, at the age, well, actually at birth, I was born in Tucson, Arizona. My mom put me up for adoption when I was born. She was unable to take care of me and unwilling to take care of me. So they put me in CPS custody. As soon as I was 2 years old, I was put into another foster home. I've been in around 30, 35 foster homes since I've been in CPS custody. About 6 or 10 different group homes, 1 adopted home. So far, I really don't, how am I supposed to say?
It's okay. So as you're going through all that process of CPS and in one home, out the other home, and the difference between a group home and a foster home is a group home are usually run by an agency, small usually for the most part, that provide transportation, education services, social services, counseling, social activities. There's some different 24-hour care and monitoring in that aspect. So group home, in a foster family, you have someone who actually adopts you into a family. How long have you been currently where you're at?
For about 6 months.
6 months. So you're 17 years old, because we know we're going to talk about you going into the military here, more specifically, as Lorenz Sergeant Fuentes says, the Marines. But backtrack a little bit. What's the hardest, what are your defining hard moments going through that system, that maybe if there's a child out there that's in the same situation as you, that you've went through, that maybe they can be able to relate to?
The hardest thing I've been through, well, I can relate to another child in my predicament, is actually going and switching to different homes and having to go to different schools and making new friends, or afraid to make new friends, knowing that you're not going to be there that long. It's really depressing, and it kind of eats you up when you see someone at the school that you want to hang out with, and then you can't because you're not allowed to talk. Well, you're allowed to talk to them, but you have to go through a background check, and you don't want them to go through that. You don't want to have your friends look at you like, oh, I can't hang out with you because my parents don't want to give a background check. So it's kind of frustrating because you miss a lot of opportunities, and you have friends that really care about you, and you have to leave, and it's I don't know, man. It's really frustrating.
You know, so you're going through that process. You wind up, we're at the place you're at now. You look different this time from the last time I saw you, and I mean that in a good way. You just look more serious. You looked more adult. Let's talk about, obviously you've come to the grips of dealing with it. You have accepted it, and you're growing through it. Summer school this year, with the classes that were provided, did that have any effect on you, and how did that change? And I'm going to start there and then try to get you to how you showed up over at the distribution. So let's talk about the summer school first.
Okay, when I heard about the summer program, I was like, I really don't need any tutoring. I was like, man, I am not going here to be tutored or anything. But when they said they're giving out, or not giving out, helping us with graphics, with computer design, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So when I got there, I was like, there's a whole bunch of kids, little kids. I was like, am I in the wrong spot? Am I, like, seriously in the wrong spot? There's kids there from ages from, I think it was 5 or 6, all the way up to my age, about 17. At the time, I was tutoring the kids. One of the staff, the helper volunteers, asked me to tutor the kids to help them out because really I was ahead of most of the kids. And there was an individual, little kid, like 7 years old. He was incapable. He didn't know how to do his multiplication. He didn't know how to read or addition or anything. So for the last 2 months we were there, or I think a month we were there, I helped him out do his multiplication, his additions, and by the time we were done, he couldn't even do, well, when we first started, he couldn't even do his 1s or 2s. When we were done, he was able to do his all the way up to 10s and 11s and 12s in the multiplication. It was eye-opening to me because I was kind of afraid to go in a room filled with little kids and them running around and throwing pencils, and it was kind of impacting because I learned that I'm good with little kids. I'm good at volunteering. I'm good at helping people and giving back to people that are in my predicament and making a difference in someone else's life.
You know, and that's really important, where you talked about being in one place to another place to another place to another place, but also the turnover of staff that actually are part of your lives, as well as adoptive families in that aspect too. There's a trust building there. So as you go through that class and you're able to enter into that leadership and tap in to your abilities, going in there thinking, what do I need to be here for? And then coming out there going, no, now I know what I need to be here for. As somebody in your position that's been in and out of in that element of that system since birth, hope, the loss of hope, did that restore, there was something for you through that?
It really did. It kind of gave me inspiration. Like, when I was looking at the kids' face, when I was actually looking at them, and they were smiling and they were happy, and as soon as I came into the building, they're like, "Hey, Elijah, how you doing?" And I was like happy because it made me happy. It made me feel alive. Because before then, I felt kind of like there's no use of going to college, no use of doing this and that, or going to the Marines, or becoming a businessman or a lawyer. When I got to that program, kids were, you know, it was impacting. I can't really say anything, so I'm kind of like nervous right now. But
I just wanted to say something. I mean, this is one of the reasons why we invited Elijah to come and tell his story and why it was so powerful. I stood shoulder to shoulder with him volunteering at the Toys for Tot distribution, and I got to know him a little bit more. And I know the care coordinator that works with him has been with him for a long time. How many years has she been working with you, Cecilia?
oh man, 9 years.
9 years. And you hear so many tragic stories of kids going into Child Protective Service custody. And unfortunately, they are tragic. But there's many, many more stories of triumph, stories of inspiration. And Elijah is one of those stories. He's extremely talented. He's a special person. He's got a purpose in life, and we're all excited to see what he's going to do with his life. And there's a lot of people that are part of the provider community that have been there and are encouraging him and are inspired by him, and are waiting for what he's going to do with his life. But more importantly, I mean, he has a message and a purpose, and he has big ideas. And he wants to go out and impact the world.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll recap real quick before we close. You talked about entering in the Marine Corps. Got about a year left to do some other stuff before you can get in. Real quick, why'd you pick the Marine Corps? Was there something that happened that made you go that route?
Yeah, I met an individual at the program.
When is it?
Kind of,
who was that?
I forgot his name.
Benzo.
Yeah.
Kenzo,
Lorenzo. There you go, Lorenzo.
Real quick,
mainly I wanted to go to the Marine Corps because of the discipline. That's really the structure, and plus, I like the Marines. They're awesome.
Let me tell you, before we close, what an inspiration you are. I mean, stepping out and helping kids and tutoring and taking advantage of what all, like Tomas said, what all those services are provided for you by a number of groups of people and a number of groups of agencies. But that service that's provided only taps in and locks on when somebody taps into it. And not only did you tap into it, but you also gave back. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, coming from where you come from, you're a miracle, and that's amazing for you to be sitting here and sitting there in such stature to be able to go to that next level. And just an honor and a privilege to even actually have you sitting here as well. With you, and excited to bring you back in your civvies once you get a break after you join. This is Phil McIlveen. This is Mr. Tomas Leon, and this is Laura Larson Huffaker from Impact Suicide Prevention Centers. This is seeing the need, and they're finding the solution, and he's putting it to action. And thank you, and we'll be back.